I am 99 years old. My name is Howard Calloway, and I want to tell you about the night the radio went quiet. We were waiting for orders. The orders never came, and by morning nothing was the same. I was born in Savannah, Georgia, on March 7th, 1927. My father was a school teacher. My mother played piano at the First Baptist Church on Sunday mornings for 31 years. My father used to say that the most powerful thing a man could do was listen. Really listen. Not wait for his turn to speak. Actually hear what was being said. That turned out to be useful in ways he never anticipated. My father was 14 years old when Pearl Harbor was attacked. I remember my father turning off the radio after the news and sitting in silence for a long time. Then he looked at me. "Howard," he said, "the world just changed. I enlisted in the U.S. Army on March 8th, 1945. One day after my 18th birthday. My mother sat at the piano that evening and played hymns for 2 hours without stopping. They discovered quickly that I had a natural aptitude for radio operation. My hands were steady. My ear was good. My instructor at signal school said I was the best natural operator he had trained in 4 years. By the summer of 1945, I was in Italy with the 88th Infantry Division. The war in Europe was in its final weeks, but in the mountains of northern Italy, the Germans were still fighting. The Italian campaign in its final months was a different kind of war. It was not the open fields of France or the frozen forests of Belgium. It was mountains, narrow valleys, stone villages perched on ridges fortified for centuries. The Germans used the terrain expertly. Every ridge was a defensive line, every village a potential ambush. Moving forward meant taking ground meter by meter. My job was to maintain communication between our platoon and battalion command. In the mountains, radio signals bounced off rock faces, got swallowed by valleys, disrupted by weather. A good operator learned to work around all of that. My platoon leader, Lieutenant Carl Hennessy from Boston, told me on my first day in the field, "Calloway, every man in this platoon is depending on you to keep us connected. The moment that radio goes silent, we are blind. Don't let it go silent." I never did, until the night it didn't matter whether I did or not. August 14th, 1945. A ridge overlooking a small valley in the Apennine Mountains of northern Italy. Our platoon had been holding a forward position on that ridge for 3 days. 18 men. We had pushed ahead of the main line to observe German movements in the valley below and report back. The plan was straightforward. Hold the position, observe, transmit intelligence, and when the order came to pull back, withdraw to the main line before dark. The withdrawal order was supposed to come through at 22 o'clock. I set up my radio in a stone farmhouse on the eastern edge of the ridge. Good position, clear sight line in most directions. I ran a check at 21 o'clock and made clean contact with battalion. Signal was strong. Everything was working. Lieutenant Hennessy came by at 21:30. "You good, Calloway?" "Good, sir. Strong signal. Ready for the 22 o'clock call." He nodded and went back to check the perimeter. At 22 o'clock, I keyed my receiver and waited. Nothing. 22F5. I transmitted a request for confirmation. Standard procedure when the scheduled call didn't come through. Nothing. 2210. I checked my equipment. Everything functioning. The problem was not on my end. 2215. I transmitted again. Longer this time. Gave our position, our status, our readiness to withdraw. Nothing. Hennessy appeared in the doorway at 22:20. "Calloway, where's the call?" "No contact yet, sir. Equipment is functioning. I can't raise battalion." He looked at the radio for a moment, then at me. "Keep trying," he said. I kept trying. 23 o'clock. Still nothing. An hour past the scheduled call. Hennessy had gathered the senior men. I could hear them talking in low voices in the next room. The options were few. Move without orders and risk walking into something in the dark. Stay and wait, or try to send a runner back to the main line. The runner option meant one man crossing 2 miles of mountain terrain at night, alone, in territory that was not fully secured. Hennessy chose to wait. I stayed at that radio until 2 o'clock in the morning. 4 hours of silence. 4 hours of transmitting into nothing. 4 hours of checking connections, adjusting frequencies, trying every protocol I had been taught and some I invented on the spot. Nothing came back. At 2:15, Hennessy made the decision to move. We would withdraw on our own, using the route we had come in on, moving carefully and hoping the German positions in the valley had not shifted since our last observation. We moved out at 2:30. The first 2 miles went without incident. The mountain was cold and dark and silent. We moved in single file, 10 yards between each man. At 3:15, the lead element of our column walked into a German patrol that had moved into position sometime after dark. The firefight lasted 11 minutes. We lost 4 men. When we reached the main line at 4 o'clock, I learned what had happened to the radio. A relay station at Battalion had suffered a generator failure at 21:47, 13 minutes before our scheduled call. They had been trying to reach us too. From their end, our frequency had also gone dead. Nobody's fault. Equipment failure. The mathematics of war. 4 men were gone anyway. I sat down after the debrief and did not move for a long time. The 4 men we lost were not strangers. Private Joe Amato from Philadelphia, who had shown me photographs of his daughter 3 days before. Corporal Dave Sims from Kansas, who could make anyone laugh no matter how bad things were. Private Ray Okubo from Hawaii, who had been planning to open a restaurant when he got home. And Private First Class Tommy Walsh from New York, 19 years old, who had never stopped talking about a girl named Catherine. They had been waiting for a radio call. It never came, and I had been the man at the radio. Hennessy came and sat beside me. "Calloway," he said, "you did everything right." I looked at him. "The equipment failed," he said. "Not you." I nodded. I understood what he was telling me. It took me many years to believe it. I came home to Savannah in the fall of 1945. I was 18 years old. My father met me at the door. He looked at my face the way he always looked at things he was trying to understand, carefully, without rushing to a conclusion. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Come inside, Howard." That was all. My mother played piano that evening, the same hymn she had played the night I left. I sat in the chair by the window and listened. It was the first time since August that I had felt anything close to peace. I told my father about that night 2 weeks after I came home. He listened to the whole account without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. "Did you do everything you knew how to do?" he asked. "Yes," I said. He nodded. "Then you carry the grief," he said, "but not the guilt. Those are 2 different things, Howard. Don't let anyone tell you they're the same. I have held on to that distinction for 80 years. I married a woman named Diane in 1952. We had 48 years together before she passed. 2 sons, 6 grandchildren, 9 great-grandchildren. I worked for the U.S. Postal Service for 31 years. Communications in a different form. I always found that fitting. I thought about Joe Amato and Dave Sims and Ray Okubo and Tommy Walsh every year. On August 14th, every year without exception, I sat quietly for a while and thought about them. I still do. I don't know what would have happened if the call had come through at 22 o'clock. Maybe we would have avoided that patrol. Maybe the outcome would have been the same. I will never know. What I know is that 4 men lived full lives in my mind long after they stopped living them in the world. Joe's daughter grew up without him. Dave never made anyone laugh again. Ray never opened his restaurant. Tommy never found out if Catherine waited. Those are the things I carry. I am 99 years old. I have thought a great deal about silence over the course of my life. The silence of that radio on the night of August 14th. The silence of the mountain at 2:30 when we moved out. The silence after the firefight when we counted who was missing. And the silence my father taught me to value. The kind that means you are actually listening. There is a difference between the silence that takes things from you and the silence that allows you to receive them. My father was right. Grief and guilt are not the same thing. I grieved for those 4 men. I grieve for them still. But I did not carry guilt for what a generator failure did on an Italian mountainside in 1945. That distinction kept me whole. It is the most important thing I know. Here is what I want to leave you with. There are things that will happen in your life that are not your fault. Equipment fails. Signals go silent. People are lost because of circumstances that no amount of skill or devotion could have prevented. When those things happen, you will be tempted to carry them as guilt, to replay the night and find the decision you could have made differently. Sometimes that is true. And when it is, you carry it and learn from it. But sometimes the generator just fails. And the 4 men are gone not because of anything you did or didn't do, but because that is what war does. Learn the difference between grief and guilt, between what was in your hands and what was never in your hands at all. My father taught me that. A radio that went silent on an Italian mountainside confirmed it. If this story meant something to you, share it with someone who is carrying something that was never theirs to carry. Tell them what my father told me. The grief is real. Hold it, but let the guilt go.